Hello, and welcome back to Over the Next Hill Fitness Podcast. I'm Carla Coffey, your coach and host for today's program. This podcast is brought to you by Coffee Crew Coaching. If you need a running or fitness coach, please look me up. I might be right for you, I might not. We never know until we get to know each other a little bit. I do offer a new client program. It's 2 weeks for only $27. So it's really highly discounted, but it gives you an opportunity to get to know me to get to know you, and see if we're a good match. It's also brought to you by Hydro Patch. There are some links in the show notes for the Hydro Patch. It's offering a buy one, get one free session. So if you're interested in that, send me an email, carla@coffeecrewcoaching.com, and I'll send you that special link. So it's only going to be good for a couple months. So we are probably looking at 2 months worth. So if you're interested, please send me an email and I'll send you that special link. Otherwise, you can get the regular discount. That link is in the show notes as well. Please continue to follow, rate, and share the program. Put some 5 stars down on any kind of review. It doesn't matter what you say. Say you like ham sandwiches. It doesn't matter. That they're really just looking for the 5 stars to help me climb the ladder. But if you have something nice to say, take that too. Doesn't matter. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram. Coffee Crew Coaching is what you're looking for. And I will look forward to seeing your post and text there. Today we're talking to Irene Pasternak. Fun story, great, outstanding lady. Has some interesting things to say about llamas and hiking. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the story. And then we'll see you at the end. And have a great day. Welcome to the show, Irene. It's great to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, my pleasure. So let's start today's journey with your running experience and how you got started and where you went.
So in July 2023, I got diagnosed with early Alzheimer's. And I enrolled in a clinical trial for a new medication, started on that medication in, I think, August. And like anybody with anything new that's going on, you go to Dr. Google, and I learned more about the medication called donanemab. And the research showed that it was most effective with people with younger onset, and I was 65, and so that's younger for Alzheimer's, and people who were more fit. And I'm an ice skater, but that isn't something that gets my heart rate up continuously, whatever. And then I got really depressed. I mean, there's nothing like a diagnosis like 3 years till you'll be in full on dementia to shake up your world. And did some counseling and realized, okay, what resources do I have internally that I can use? And one is, well, I could get more fit if the medication is going to be more effective if I'm more fit. And so I started running in January 2024. And when I started, I could run about a mile, and I just gradually, slowly, I set one goal for myself, which is I am going to do this injury-free. I'm going to go slow enough and steady enough that I don't hurt myself. And so I started gradually increasing my mileage, and I think in March I did a 5K, and then I just fell in love with it, with running. And I went on a family vacation with my extended family in May, and to France. And I don't know, for me, traveling with a big group of people gets a little claustrophobic. And since I was running and it was a flat area, I thought I'll go exploring. And I discovered what I now call tourist running, where run as far as I can in whatever direction and then take public transportation home. So that I just ran all over and really enjoyed that, and increased my distance significantly, because tourist running, you're stopping to take pictures, you're going, where am I? It like changed my approach. Instead of running with a watch to running somewhere new. Yeah. And then I came home from that and had gotten my mileage up. So I signed up for a half marathon, did a half marathon, and then it took me a little while to recover from that. And anyway, so it's been just this this journey of finding a new identity as a runner and loving it over the last year. And then last summer, I got great news from the study I'm in. The study measures the level of amyloid plaque in your brain, which is an indicator of Alzheimer's. And I went from a level of 76, which is the 86% chance of being full-on dementia in 3 years, to below 12, which is below clinically significant. So the medication worked for me, cleared the plaque. I'm not having the mental challenges I was 2 years ago. And so I'm feeling like running really transformed my life along with this medication. It gave me myself back, in a
Wow.
very literal sense, myself back.
Congratulations. That's great numbers.
And of course, I had this image, right? I said I was going to go injury-free for a year. And on January 1st, I did my first run with a running club. Usually I run by myself and I'm very mindful of my body and what's happening. And I got all excited about running faster with people. And anyway, and I hurt myself. And I'm just now back after healing that injury. So I've set another goal of the rest of this year injury-free. I got to keep my goals going further into the future.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard sometimes running with a group, especially if it's a route you don't know and you're just trying to keep up. And yeah, been
Yeah,
there.
and I was feeling so good, that high of going, well, I did do a run yesterday, and I don't usually run. I've been very careful to give myself the rest days in between
Hmm.
and to listen to my body, that on days that it doesn't feel good, go slower or don't go, or just go. Like, listening is more important than the goals. And I overrode it. And I also hadn't realized how many miles I'd racked up in the year, and I hadn't bought new running shoes. And so
Oh,
that was the other lesson: buy new running shoes at 300 or 400 miles. Don't say it's fine.
right,
So yeah,
right.
but you live and learn.
Yeah.
And
But, that's so incredible that you didn't even start running until you're 65. And
yeah,
now you've done half marathons and
yeah.
5Ks. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
fantastic. And tourist running, which I
And
really
tourist
love.
running. Tourist running is the real pleasure. And I've decided any race I do is has to be someplace I haven't been before, just so that there's a newness to it.
Yeah. So are you going to join some of the crazy clubs, like the ones that do a half marathon in every state and things like that?
I doubt it.
No,
I
just
doubt
new
it. I have too
places.
much else going on in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
what is your next running goal? Do you have a place or a
I'd like to
race?
do a marathon. I had signed up for one in April this year, and probably would have made it without if I hadn't gotten hurt, but I got hurt.
Hmm.
So I was thinking about that when I was on my run this morning, and I think the right timing for me will be next spring. In the summer, I lead backpacking trips with llamas. I take people with Parkinson's and then older people and families out into the backcountry, and the llamas carry their gear. I do the cooking and the cleaning and the guiding and the keeping it safe for us. And so I don't get a lot of running in the summer because I am hiking 5 days a week, and I need my rest days.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah.
But that hiking is as good as running. That's just a,
It
cross
definitely
training.
keeps me fit, but it's different than running,
Yeah.
and different enough that I feel like I have to hike to get in shape for hiking and run to get in shape for running. Yeah.
Sure. But the cross training is great. So good for you. Now, where do you live that you're doing llama backpacking?
I live in Seattle, Washington.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
they do that there.
Yeah. We take groups out into the Olympic Mountains and to the Cascades. So some of our hikes are on the Pacific Crest Trail, some are on smaller trails near that, and then up in the Olympics. Yeah.
So now do you camp for that or are there cottages?
No,
What do
it's
you?
camping. It's like
Okay.
backpacking, except that you don't have to carry your own pack. The llamas carry it. And
Nice.
yeah,
I could get behind that. Somebody else carrying my pack.
it changes the experience. It's like doing 5 day trips in a row, except you're way out in the backcountry instead of close to a trailhead. So you get to see
That's
things that
great.
you wouldn't see otherwise, and the experience of being with a group of people in that kind of intensity is I find that pure joy.
Yeah. Now, how did you get involved with doing that and the Parkinson's? How did that all tie in?
Um, so when I was in my 40s, I switched careers and I went back to school to become a Feldenkrais practitioner. Feldenkrais is a kind of movement, education, paradigm shift discipline that I discovered when I had herniated a disc in a bicycling accident. And it was what I used to rehabilitate myself from the herniated disc problem. And it's a 4-year training. And go back a little further, my mom had Parkinson's, and I was her primary caregiver. And the two of us ran a support group for people with Parkinson's. And she passed away in 1999. So, but Parkinson's is on my radar just because of my experience being her caregiver. And there was a woman in one of my Feldenkrais trainings who had Parkinson's, and I saw what the Feldenkrais was doing for her and her ability to continue functioning despite the disease progression. When I started my practice, I started working with people with Parkinson's, and kind of a way of giving back something I wish I could have given back to my mom, but didn't know about it when she was alive. And so I'm on a Parkinson's mailing list, and I got mailing about a program called Pass to Pass, which takes people with Parkinson's on the Pacific Crest Trail on 6-day hikes. And they use llamas to carry the gear, and they need support hikers because you take one person with Parkinson's, one person as a support hiker to help if there's fine motor challenges or whatever is needed. And so I volunteered to be a support hiker because I thought it would be fun. I backpacked a lot when I was in my 20s and then didn't while I was raising my family. So I just volunteered as a support hiker, had a wonderful time, had such a good time. I came back a week later and called them up and said, do you need any more support hikers later in the summer? And they did. And I volunteered again as a support hiker. Then they asked me to be a guide the next summer. So the next summer I led 2 trips for them. And noodling around on Facebook in an older women backpacking group, I saw an advertisement for, we need a backup llama guide for a company. And I called Jeff Fisker at Washington Llamas, and we hit it off. I started working for them, doing a couple trips. And now this summer I've got 9 trips scheduled. So it's going to be a busy summer.
Wow.
There's something about, partly all the llama stuff happened at about the time that I was beginning to notice some cognitive challenges and beginning to feel like, wait a minute, this is my life. My life is more than 2/3 over, or, what do I want? And so it's been this shift toward how do I live in the fullest in the moment. One of my joys is that I have a 2-year-old granddaughter, and she loves the llama trips, and I love getting to take her on trips.
Oh, you get to take her.
We do a friends and family trip, and then Jeff lets me use the llamas to take my family out on hikes.
Okay. Yeah. So now, what's the difference between you being the guide and you being a volunteer? How is that different?
So different organizations. Pass to Pass is a nonprofit, and specifically for the focus of taking people with Parkinson's out on backcountry adventures. And so in that, I'm a volunteer guide. And to be a guide in either one, you have to have first aid training. You have to have the wilderness experience in order to keep it safe for the group, the knowledge of how to run a group. Washington Llamas is a for-profit organization, and I'm an employee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And how does that fit in with the, I can't.
Feldenkrais?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, say the word paradise.
Paradise. Say
the word Feldenkrais.
Feldenkrais. Oh.
Yeah, it has the same kind of rhythm as yes. That to say
Thank
it.
you.
I just shut my practice down for the summer and take the summer off.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so with the Feldenkrais, do you see people outside of the llama trips for that? Is that
yes?
How does that work?
I have an office here in Bellevue, Washington, and my husband is also a Feldenkrais practitioner. And so we have an office with 2 practice rooms and a group room for teaching classes, and we teach classes there and work with people one-on-one. So we often get people who come in because something hurts and they've tried PT and it hasn't worked for them, and they're frustrated and they want their life back. And about 1/3 of our clients come in and their shoulder feels better, their elbow or their foot, whatever it is, neck feels better, and they're happy. And then about 2/3 of people go, well, yeah, my shoulder feels better. And now I've always wanted to take on pickleball, but I was afraid of hurting my shoulder. Or they play pickleball, and it's like, well, you fixed my thumb, which was bugging me, and now can you help me with my knee and then that ankle? And people who do something they're passionate about and they want to keep getting better at it. Feldenkrais is an incredibly useful tool for building your ability to hear what your coach says if you have a coach and actually do it. In ice skating, we have a joke that the answer to everything is bend your knees, because if you try to do anything with stiff legs, it doesn't work. And but actually being able to bend your knees at the right time and know how to do it, Feldenkrais is what helps people get there. So
is it a form of mobility work or just PT?
It isn't a form of PT. We're all working on the same bodies and have some of the same goals between all the different disciplines. We're really focused on the how the brain learns and neuroplasticity and how to engage people's curiosity so that they shift from I have a bad shoulder to I wonder what I could do to make my shoulder feel better. And then teaching the kinds of variations and explorations that you can do so that when you're out there running or ice skating or bicycling or playing pickleball, you become your own coach, your own trainer, because you have the self-awareness. The man who created it, Moshe Feldenkrais, had a very interesting background. Grew up in Ukraine, born in 1904. Ukraine was not a good place to be born Jewish, and experienced many pogroms when he was just a kid. Emigrated to Palestine at 14. Had to learn how to fight in order, as this Israel's formation against the Arabs, the British. Became a judo expert, then a mechanical engineer, physicist, and some of the story is he injured his knees playing soccer, and he tried to put what he knew of judo and physics into how can I walk with missing some ligaments in my knee, and it worked. And then he was director of electronics at the Israeli army. Other people he worked with were like, you fixed your knee? Can you help me with my shoulder? He started exploring, experimenting. And he worked primarily with a lot of people who were Holocaust survivors, just as he built his own discipline. And his goal was restoring people to their human dignity. And so it's that teaching people the self-reliance to know that they have control, we have control over our own bodies. So it's not, I think of PT as often very much strengthening and flexibility. Mm-hmm. And we see ourselves more as teaching coordination, of how do you use your whole body as a team so that you're not fighting against yourself. And so it's a very different discipline.
Yeah, for sure.
But my own personal journey with it was herniated disc to leading backpacking trips, to the resilience that I find from it is wonderful. And I joke, the reason I became a practitioner, I was a client for 8 years because it's like, I want to ride the SDP, the Seattle to Portland, the 200-mile bicycle race. And my knees and my ankles hurt. And I worked with my practitioner to learn how to bicycle more efficiently. And then I did it. And then I wanted to learn how to roller skate, but I couldn't bend over enough to tie my skate because of the herniated disc. Anyway, I learned, bodies are supposed to fold at the hips, not at the waist. I was a nerd growing up. I didn't really use my body as a kid very much. And, but I did a weekend training, and it was an introduction to becoming a Feldenkrais practitioner. And there were a lot of practitioners in their 60s and 70s who had these lithe and agile bodies. And I so wanted one because in my 40s, I did not have that kind of relationship with myself. And, yeah, it's nice to help other people, but I mostly like it for the impact it has on myself. Because when I give a session, I get a session. It's a fun discipline. it's
Yeah.
much more energizing than what I was doing before as a technical writer.
Yeah, I would say, yeah.
Yeah.
And how does that fit in, or does it fit in with the Parkinson people? Does that help them?
I have a contract with Northwest Parkinson's Foundation, and I teach a few classes a week for them. I started during the pandemic doing that, and it's kept going. So I teach a Feldenkrais class, which is the movement, a lot about balance and how do you, as Parkinson's nibbles away at people's ability to move, learning how to use their body better. There's room for everybody's there's room to improve how we move, and it helps people function better.
Nice.
And then I also teach 2 different kinds of dance classes for them. I'm a Nia instructor and an Ageless Grace instructor, and so those are both seated. I teach seated exercise classes for
Oh,
them.
fun. Yeah, I
Yeah,
wondered, you had mentioned about teaching dance classes. That was going to be one of my
yeah,
questions. So it's
yeah.
seated dance.
For the Northwest Parkinson's Foundation, I found about half of my students can't do a standing dance class. It's too fast for their balance.
Sure.
But there's lots we can do seated, and so it's sometimes I try to teach both, but that's just a little too hard to try to teach both at the same time.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like patting your head and rubbing your tummy.
yeah, yeah. And the dance I teach, Nia, is very sensory based, and I need to be able to be sensing what's in my body in order to give the cues to the people who I'm working with. And so if I'm doing the same thing, it's easier than if I'm doing something different.
Sure.
Yeah.
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 I in the past, long ago past,
Mm-hmm.
like 40 years ago past, I taught step aerobics,
Uh-huh.
and I faced the group. So I had to tell them the opposite arm
Yes,
of what
yes,
I
yes.
was using. So
Teaching online is very much that.
yeah,
And it's gotten
yeah.
to me. So I now reverse it. I was never very good at left and right. And now I'm horrible at it because of the
Right.
reversing. So I
Yeah.
usually, when I'm teaching in this room, it's like, use your bookcase arm, that arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get where I was going with that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really hard.
It
It
is.
really
It
is.
really is
Yeah.
hard to move your right hand and say, move your left hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I probably have finally learned my left and right because I don't teach that anymore. So I know what you're saying with that being hard for you. Now, how has the Feldenkrais helped your running? Has it had an
Um,
impact?
yes. When I was running this morning, while I was taking a few months off from running to heal my foot, I managed to hide all my running gear, and I hid my running vest where I keep my cell phone. So I was running with my cell phone in my hand, and I started playing with what if I hold it. So like I was looking at it, what if I hold it upside down? What if I hold it this way? What if I hold it that way? How does that change how I run? And I was just playing with that for a quarter mile or less, and checking in with how springy I feel on each step, and checking in with that sore spot on my foot and how does it feel when I do something different. So it's experimenting like that is how it changes my running.
Okay.
Um, and there's a woman named Jay Grunke, who would be a great person for you to interview, who runs a company called The Balanced Runner. And she offers running camps using the Feldenkrais method and running video analysis. She always puts out wonderful videos after each major running competition and the Olympics and analyzing everybody's form. And anyway, I've learned a lot from her.
Oh, very cool.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's that ability to play when I'm out there. And not just put my headphones on and listen to a book. That's when I can get myself in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I
And
know I'm always watching for potholes, but even though when I have a book on, you really
yes,
still have to pay attention.
it's the paying attention to my body of like, do I feel springy or not? Does my foot hurt? I have the usual various aches and pains that people, we all accumulate from our history of injuries or whatever. And I kind of check in with each one, and then I vary a few things. And the way our brains work is if there are more than two choices, if there's like 3 or 4 or 5 ways to do it, and your body can sense that it feels different, your brain will choose the best one. But if your brain doesn't realize you have a choice because you're doing it the same way you've always done it, then you're going to do it the same way you've always done it, and that can lead to repetitive use injuries. Mm-hmm. So it's the creativity to add variation in, and to the anatomy knowledge to know what are some anatomical places that if I introduce variation, I'm likely to get better results from it. So that's what I'm doing when I'm running. And then, of course, having a husband as a live-in practitioner is very handy, so that if I have a question, sometimes it's hard to observe oneself, and I come home and say, hey, can we do some explorations around X, and we'll play with it. So
that's great.
It's changing the paradigm to I'm stuck with this to I can do something about it. Yeah. And that, I think that's an attitude in life that I got through the Feldenkrais work, and it helped with I'm feeling like my mind is not working right, and then looking around and what are my options for getting help, and being able to get into a clinical study and thank God, got into one that had no placebo. And it was a dosing study of does it work better if it's twice a month or once a month for the infusions for it. And
yeah. So now you're not on that medicine. You're still great.
No, now my brain, my body, because is now trained to, if plaque builds up, to dissolve it or to break it up. Wow. It's
yeah. So how did they test you for that? Or did you feel like something was wrong and then you got tested? What was that like?
I was finding myself doing strange things, like going to pay for something and handing the clerk my car keys, or going in the morning to get an apple out of the fridge when I'd been grocery shopping the day before and finding who put the apples in the freezer. And so like weird stuff, and a little bit of trouble finding nouns. And all my friends who are my age and older, it's like, oh yeah, this is just aging. And it's like, no, this just doesn't feel quite right. So they were looking for people for this study, for people who were not diagnosed. And it was only through the study that I got the diagnosis.
Gotcha.
So in the study, they did blood tests and MRIs, but the PET scan is the definitive one for measuring amyloid plaque level. And then part of the study, they were correlating blood proteins with amyloid plaque level, because they're trying to develop the blood test, because that's a lot less expensive for screening than the PET scan. But the PET scan is better than the autopsy, which before that was the only way to find out if people had amyloid plaque.
Yeah. Right. Wow. I mean, you've come a long way from all that.
The last couple of years have been a change from life shrinking to happier, because I'm doing what's more important to me. Yeah. I reorganized my schedule so I could spend a whole day a week with my granddaughter. And one of the things I was saddest about with the diagnosis of she's not going to know me as me, I have that memory of my own grandmother with Alzheimer's, and then my mother with dementia, and my kids, and a lot of sadness there. And it's like, okay, how can I build the time I do have, and doing a photo journey with her, and making up a box of books of like my favorites that I want to hand to her when she's 10, and reading, and being with her is just one of the joys of my life right now. And so it's living more intentionally, and running has been a big part of it.
And now you may not you can push that off for a long time now.
Maybe the research, the drug is new enough that some say, some of the studies say it just slows things down by 9 months or so. And some of that it's like a permanent change in your body. And there's still research that goes, is amyloid plaque really the only thing that's causing the dementia? Is it just a symptom of something else that's going on? And if this just gets rid of the plaque and it doesn't get to the root cause, there's a lot of unknowns in the Alzheimer's research. I'm hoping to get into another follow-on study so that I can continue to get measured, because the PET scans are really expensive and hard to. What I found is that the primary care physicians are not caught up to the current research. And even when I was having challenges, I was still pretty functional in a lot of ways. And so there was, no, don't worry about it. We'll wait till it gets worse. And that's just the wrong response. Now that there are drugs that the earlier you get on them, the more effective they are.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really sad that that's their attitude. I'll just wait until it gets worse. No.
Well, it's when you don't have a tool, that's really all you can do. But when there are tools that can help, and like with Parkinson's research, one of the most fascinating things in the research is that every day a week you exercise multiplies the quality of your life by the same amount. It's like exercising once is good, exercising 7 times is a lot better. And those are things you can do when you have it. And
So does the
yeah.
Feldenkrais help? I'm sorry. Does the Feldenkrais help other types of maladies like multiple sclerosis or those who've had a stroke and have limited use? Does that help that type of
Yes.
thing
Yeah.
too?
And one of my first clients who had a stroke, she was young when she had her stroke, in her late 50s, and spent a year learning how to walk again. Came into me a couple years later, and she was, back working, back functional, but awkward. And I worked with her on her balance, and she was able to go ice skating with her grandson again, which she was really excited about, and ride a bicycle. But she said the thing that really made her realize how much better she was when she went into her stroke support group wearing high heels. It was all anybody wanted to ask about is, what do you mean you can wear high heels again?
Wow.
So it can be very helpful. We've worked with one little girl who had a stroke in utero, an anoxic event that took out the part of the brain that controls movement. And she came in at 9 months old, not able to roll over, reach a hand up or whatever. And she's now mainstreamed in got to calculate the years, middle school. But the earlier we get to somebody, the more effective we can be. But so when we work with little kids who have had an anoxic event, we do a lot with special needs kids. The sooner we get to them, the less damage that happens. We've worked with people with heart conditions and prevented surgery on one little boy. He'd had open heart surgery twice for congenital heart challenges. He came to us at 4, and he was turning blue, was scheduled for his next surgery. We worked with him to get his ribs to expand and contract properly, because after heart surgery, when you've been cut and sewed back together, you tend to be protective of your chest, and not being able to get that full volume. Anyway, he went into the doctor, and the doctor for his next appointment is like, something's changed. And so that was one real success story. It's also fun working. One of my clients now is in her church choir, and helping her to, she came in because of foot problems, but now we work on how to get her voice to be even more expressive, because vocal cords are just another set of muscles. They can be worked on the same way as anything else with it. So yeah.
That's very rewarding, I bet.
It is very
Change.
fun work. It's fun work. Sometimes it's frustrating to be in a discipline that isn't well known and isn't covered by insurance, because then it's like, how do I find ways to get it to people that I can make a living from, and they can afford? And so that's what I love it when places like Northwest Parkinson's Foundation hire me, so that I can do group classes, and the people who need it don't have to. It's not a risk to try something new. It's just a free option that they can do.
Yeah, that's great. And then
So
are you able
anybody
to?
who's watching this that has Parkinson's, nwpf.org is where you can find information about my classes.
Yeah. And those listening as well, feel free. And we'll put that in the show notes too, so that people can get the direct link to you that way. So you've got now a marathon next spring.
Yeah.
Did you just defer the one that you weren't able to do for April,
I
or
think I'll run a 10K.
a 10K?
I can change my time in this one,
Oh, good.
my distance. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's local
That's
for
low.
you?
It's about half an hour away in a city called Everett.
Okay, yeah, I've
Yeah,
heard of Everett.
yeah.
And so then what else after the 10K before the marathon? Anything besides all your
That'll be my summer
backpacking?
hiking season, and
Yeah.
so anything I can do to maintain during the summer is good. Yeah.
And how long is your season of hiking? From what month to what month?
My first trip is in May. My last trip is in September.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you do 5 a week, you said?
Um, I'm doing 9 trips, so it's about 3 a month during the summer. Some of them are 2 day, some are 4 day, some are 5 days, one 6 day.
And even if it rains, it doesn't matter. You guys are still hiking.
Oh, of course, yeah. Uh, Fires are the biggest thing that interferes. Sometimes we have to reroute depending on fire season, which has gotten worse. I took my one of the trips with my granddaughter was really fun because she really likes mushrooms. She's just fascinated by mushrooms, and she's not allowed to touch them because there's some poisonous ones, but she pokes them with a stick. And so she just walked around poking every little mushroom, and it rained about an inch one night, and we had all the gear piled up on the high spot and the big tarp, and we're all the grown-ups are trying not to whine, and she's just poking mushrooms and having so much fun that the rest of us had to behave and have a good time.
That sounds like a blast. I would love to do that. I would actually just like to go with her and watch her poke mushrooms, I think is really what it amounts to.
Yeah.
All right.
Her
Is there
parents
any?
know which ones are safe, so we ate a lot of mushrooms on that trip too, so that was fun.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's now I know in our area,
Where do you live?
morels. I live in Wisconsin, and I'm originally from Michigan. And in Michigan and Wisconsin, morels are a big deal. Do they have those there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's probably. I don't know if you eat those raw. I don't know that I've ever had them, but I know they're a pretty
I don't
big
know.
deal.
When there's somebody who's very confident in their knowing which mushrooms are good, I'll eat them. But that's not something I've wanted to learn about, so I haven't. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you could just lick them and then see if they're poisonous by the
No,
high
the,
that.
the poisons are worse than that, though.
Did you get high or did you have an enjoyable mushroom?
Right? Or did you die?
Or
Um,
die? Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. As my
I think I
husband
did that
says,
one.
everything is edible, just not all things are survivable. So take that as a note for your mushrooms.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like the audience to know about you, your running, your practice, which we'll put the show notes in the show notes, the website for your practice as well?
If you're interested in a llama trip and you have Parkinson's, passtopass.org. If you're interested in a llama trip, wallamas.com. And I'd love to have you join me on a trip. We have a good time out there.
Okay.
And my business name is Move Beyond Limits. So movebeyondlimits.com if you're interested in learning how you can become your own guide and get yourself out of trouble when with whatever you're doing. Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds great. So hopefully everyone will check your site out. And again, we'll put that in the show notes. And
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for your wisdom and the story. It was so fun to meet you and talk to you today.
Yeah, nice talking with you. Thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please continue to follow, share, and rate the program. If you're needing that coach, reach out to me. There's a button in the show notes that you can contact me directly. Share it with a friend if you think their story needs to be on the podcast. I'd love to hear from them. So thanks again and have a great day.